as an 18-year-old, if someone's looking to hire you, they'll probably want you now to know these new skills versus like be in the old set of skills.
When I was at Apple, we've done that. Like we've hired actually a lot of people right out of conferences.
So you'll see students with college projects that they're like great toy projects, but you hire them and then day one they're like, oh, like this is too complex for me.
18-year-old wants to learn computer science and wants to get into the details of how do you actually train a model.
I would rather move to Bangalore than move to any other place in the US.
Don't be like, I'm dependent on somebody to teach me or spoon feed me.
Everybody's on the equal playing ground. An 18-year-old is equally as capable as a 30-year-old, as a 50-year-old.
Coming right out of college with zero experience, I would say a base salary of something around maybe.
Pranav, Puneet, thank you for taking out the time. Today, for all of you who are watching, we're going to talk about generative AI and the opportunities there are in this whole field. How can you get started? What skills are important? And why both of these lovely gentlemen moved from India to SF, and what is the life here like, so that you get a new perspective in your life and you can make a better decision about your career. First of all, I would love to get a quick intro about both of you. I'll starting from Pranav. You are an alumni from my college, but the next I will leave to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ishan, for having me. So yeah, I was at BITS Pilani back in 2007-11 computer science program, and was working at a company called Citrix in Bangalore for a year. And after that, came internally via the company to the US for some time and started working here, liked the work culture and sort of interacting with people and the kind of problems we were solving back then in 2011 when cloud computing was becoming a big thing. And then I liked it so much that I decided to quit the company and come back again and went to CMU in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the student visa, finished my master's and came back to the Bay Area again in 2014-ish timeframe and started working at Apple back in January 2015 timeframe and worked there for 5 years. Quit the company and now I've been at Meta for another 5 years and sort of spearheading efforts in the AR VR space for Meta Reality Labs and seeing this whole like tech revolution going towards this AI boom and being a part of that and working on like niche algorithms and frameworks and platforms to really bring AI to a consumer. I think it's just been an amazing opportunity, something which I feel is once in a lifetime kind of like opportunity to be a part of. So I mean, that's been my journey and excited to be sort of like playing that a role of taking this revolution forward. And yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And this is also, fun fact, the fourth video that we are recording on my channel.
Yeah. I remember starting off with the first recording back in 2020. So I'm glad that we've both come.
Finally in person.
We're meeting in person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Puneet.
So I'm Puneet Kohli. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Careerflow.ai. It's a startup. And I'll talk more about that. But my journey has been basically, standard, where I did a bachelor's degree in computer science, or IT specifically. During my bachelor's, this was in India. I went to a college called College of Engineering, Pune. And there I actually started a games and app development company with some of my batchmates. So that was like my first real experience, even though I was still in college. Post that, the company went well. We were actually one of the first developers on the BlackBerry 10 platform, and we were one of the top developers there. So that gave me a lot of exposure at a young age, much like yourself right now. But through that, I got a lot of exposure, industry insights. I decided that I wanted to work at bigger companies to see the other side of the table. So I worked at a company in India for a year, Hyderabad. It's called DE Shaw. They had a spin-off called RCCM. Then decided to do a master's degree at Texas A&M University. After that, I interned at Amazon, got an offer at a startup, which was really cool because it was at the intersection of the three things that I really cared about: gaming, consumer, so something really cool, and basically computer vision and machine learning. So this startup did 3D glasses, 3D displays. I worked there for about 2.5-ish years, and then I got an offer from Apple. So I joined Apple to join the Vision Pro group. This was back in 2020 during COVID. Worked there for about 2 years on hand tracking. So had a great experience contributing to that project. And then I left to start my own company, Careerflow.ai, which is an AI co-pilot for job seekers and careers. And so today we have, about 500,000 users who use our product to improve their careers and job search.
That's amazing. So you went from Amazon, Apple, startup, and you went from Apple, Meta, and then...
I'm still trying to figure out my entrepreneurship journey, but at the same time, like I'm like really happy to be a part of like initiatives which Meta has been driving overall in the AI space.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about what are these companies trying to do in the space of generative AI, right? Meta has made everything open source. Apple has just introduced Apple Intelligence. Amazon, what is Amazon doing? I don't know if they're doing anything in the B2C space.
They have like they've been coming up with initiatives in the AI space, but they also have a platform called AWS Bedrock, where you can actually use these third-party models like Claude and Mistral and all that, and then build AI agents from scratch for like small businesses. And they are enabling users to come and just deploy agents as if like you are editing image on a Photoshop. So it's going to be as simple as like creating agents and having those be like present on your like business's website, and they can do the stuff for you. Like basically think of it as not just like a conversational bot, but actually taking actions and making it super easy for anyone who visits the website to take like or to navigate through certain steps.
Very cool. And Google is there with Gemini and their product. We don't have anyone from Google today, but we will try to. So you tell me a bit about this thing. What are these companies trying to achieve, and what role are they playing in this whole generative AI race after OpenAI came up with ChatGPT?
Yeah. You want to take a stab? Or
I mean, sure. I can give you like a more, pragmatic answer to this is think about this, right? There's a new technology. It's super convenient and easy for anyone to go and use this technology, right? Whether you are a layman or you're like a hotshot developer that works at one of these companies. Literally everyone across the world was taken by storm when ChatGPT blew up, right? And essentially now everybody who's working in these companies at all levels is thinking, okay, well, how can we leverage this technology? So it's not, I mean, yes, there's a top down of like, maybe Mark Zuckerberg saying like, we need to, do better in AI. But there's also this bottom up approach where everybody in every team is like, oh, I'm working on this specific product and this specific group. What can we do to enhance our offering to our customers using this new technology? And so if you see offerings by Google, right, almost every one of Google's products and services, they've tried to figure out how can we leverage AI. So whether that's in Google Documents, whether that's in the search experience, and there's thousands of those. Yeah. Microsoft is doing something similar. And I'm sure everyone's thinking of it the same way. It's like, how do we improve my team's, KPIs, my team's products? How do I make my customers more happier? But then if you, take one level away and you're going to like a Google I/O event and then there's like, oh my God, Google's working on 1,000 different AI products. But that's actually what's happening at the, inside these companies.
Yeah, I mean, totally agreed with Puneet here. Every company is strategically approaching this space and trying to figure out what's the product roadmap for AI, how it fits into the landscape of different product offerings. Like I can talk about Meta. We probably have seen Meta AI being leveraged in WhatsApp and Instagram.
I just saw that.
You can like now generate stickers, like you can generate like even audio and videos in the future. You saw OpenAI announcements with Sora and corresponding like competitive products and coming up in that space. So I think digital marketing is going to change. I think you probably would not need creators to go create all this content manually, but leverage these tools. So having that sort of, awareness of what sort of tools are available in the market and how do you actually leverage that to your skill set and enhance your skill set as per what's the state of the art technologies in that space. I think it's going to be an evolving sort of atmosphere in this AI space, and it's yet to be seen how that pans out. Again, I mean, I think the revenue generation part of that is yet to be seen. I think a lot of like debates around from investors like, hey, we're like, in that AI revolution. There's also, I mean, some people call it AI hype. I mean, for a lack of a better sentiment around it. But I think the actual returns of how AI delivers those returns on investment in terms of whether it's product experience, people spending more money on services is yet to be seen. I think that's a question mark at this point.
For people who don't know about Meta AI, I think it's a feature in Instagram chat where you can ask it to generate pictures and other things. Plus now on WhatsApp, I just saw this yesterday. Yeah. So you can actually have that in a group, in a chat, and you can just ask it to create a picture or write anything.
Or a text message.
A text message. Yeah. Or you could also ask for piano reels, for example. I searched that and I got a bunch of reels and I could click on that. It would redirect me to Instagram and then I could watch that.
Yeah.
So that's the new feature. But why do they have it there? What is the whole goal that they have?
I think the intuition there is to have consumers leverage these capabilities and services from day zero. And as they're getting more sort of familiar with what that AI landscape means for a consumer, then they can release like more products which are like more AI powered, so that there is a natural sort of like, you can say a tangent from where you are today to where you want to be in the future, which is like, let's say fully AI powered rather than just AI playing a lending hand and making your experience better. So and it starts with like just baking all of that technology into the products which consumers already know of, like for example, WhatsApp, Instagram. Like people spend so much time on these products every single day. So what's better than having them actually use AI services as part of these platforms itself, and then maybe build something else in the future.
Yeah. So now you can see more creative pictures from your uncles and aunties sending you good morning messages using Meta AI. Really cool. Whether it is revenue generating or not is a different topic, but one thing is for sure that the talent gets to win all the time, right? I think you would all agree with that even though whatever these companies are building, the talent, developers, designers, marketers are the one who get to win at the most places.
Absolutely.
So for our 18-year-old who's watching this video right now and wants to enter this field, wanted to understand, number one, what does the skill set look like for them? What do they need to learn? And what has been the change before ChatGPT came and after ChatGPT came? So what were the changes and how can they get started in this whole field? Puneet, start with you.
Sure. So I think, post ChatGPT, a lot has changed in like, especially the entry level market, right? And I'm saying this from multiple perspectives. One is just obviously looking around. Second is I'm actually hiring a bunch of people. And then third is our company deals with, career and talent. At the entry level, the biggest challenge for people has been like, I've learned how to use certain tools, but I may not be an expert at them because I didn't get the opportunity to work on a real world project, right? And this is across development. So you'll see students with college projects that they're like great toy projects, but you hire them and then day one, they're like, oh, like this is too complex for me, right? Same thing with marketing. Like, I can do a small prototype, like market a page, but then if I have to handle a company's brand page, that's very different. So what these tools or what ChatGPT and other tools have enabled is you can go from like that junior engineer to a better version of that very easily, right? If you're willing to learn how to leverage the technology, that's one way. And that's across industries, doesn't matter which role you're in. The second way actually, which is more powerful, is that every couple of years, the tool chain evolves for whatever role you're in. So if I'm a marketer, a couple years ago, I might have been using some tools and now I'm using different tools. So embedding AI into your workflows, even as a junior or, young person, to enhance your own capabilities actually makes you, move much faster. Mm-hmm. So for example, video editing is a great one where there's a lot of AI tools and technologies that you can leverage to like drastically reduce the time it takes to edit a video. So as an 18-year-old, if, someone's looking to hire you, they'll probably want you now to know these new skills versus like be in the old set of skills. So that's something to think about kind of as a new graduate coming into the workforce.
Yeah, I think Puneet's made a great point there. What I also think is that there are two facets to it. One is that if you are in the realms of being a computer science guy, let's say an 18-year-old wants to learn computer science and wants to get into the details of how do you actually train a model, like that's a different skill set altogether. Yeah. So there's this applied ML or applied AI versus being somebody who actually understands what's the backbone of how this model is built. So somebody wants to go actually build their own version of model and train it based on their own data and all that. That's, I think, a little bit different skill set versus imbibing the skill sets like, hey, how do I use this tool to, let's say, edit a video or generate a certain text or train it on a specific version of data, which is very, like, let's say, bespoke to your needs. So again, I mean, each skill set has its own benefits. Totally depends on the kind of use cases you may have. If you're a small business, you want to sell your website or make the experience for users easy, you may want to apply those skills onto your website and then have a bot or an agent which can actually react to certain prompts or inputs. Versus like you want to go build something from scratch and like have compute resources. That's a very different skill set. I'm sure there's audiences out there who want to actually do that too. So how do you use like Llama 3.1 or like, all these other models like GPT-4 or GPT-5 and understand the model of the backbone, like how that has been built. I think that's even more deeper into computer science. So that's why I say it's a double facet sort of technology and each one to his own depends on the skill set they want to develop.
How can someone learn it? Less than the resources, but like how to learn what there is out there, because a lot of people have a lot of preconceived notions कि अच्छा ऐसे होता चाहिए, ऐसा होना चाहिए.
Yeah.
How can they like reset that and then start from scratch?
I think being aware of like what's just happening in the technology landscape, like following the maybe very more tech savvy channels, there are content creators out there who just talk about like AI, like following them, getting like aware of what's happening in the technology landscape. Most of this stuff comes from the Silicon Valley, as if I am not wrong here. Like all of the innovation happens there. So following what each of these companies are doing, attending conferences, Google I/O, you were part of that, and then like hearing those announcements and trying like on the website like what's actually available for you to use as a developer. I think those are like good starting points. But I'm sure like people would be developing like courses on Coursera or Udemy's and things like that, where they can go and like actually build a full-fledged skill set on prompt engineering, for that matter. There are already like courses out there on prompt engineering. Like how do you frame or structure a better prompt, which is going to give you better results? I think people are thinking in terms of not just leveraging like one AI model to give you the response, but having an ensemble of models which can give you the best possible output for the kind of prompts you have. So things are like advancing, and there are like a lot of courses out there to like really enhance your prompt engineering skill set, for that matter. So yeah, maybe Puneet has.
I mean, it's interesting on the courses because, I think being from tech, being from the Silicon Valley, I saw ChatGPT the first time. In fact, I was using GPT-3, that's before ChatGPT. And so it was always about, what are the right strategies to prompt this model? It's kind of like, it's a new world for everyone. So it's like, oh, if you do this one thing, if you use hashtags to separate two parts of the prompt, it understands better. So there was all these things very early on. But now I think, over the last like 1.5-ish years since that has, models have evolved, things evolved. In fact, nowadays, like you don't even need to like think about what your prompt is. The models are getting better and better at just understanding plain text.
Yeah, that's why my question was like, is prompt engineering even important as like a skill set to have? Because it might just become like HTML, like a markup language.
Yeah.
I think the goal is to get towards maybe the natural language to be the prompt, like plain English, whatever your native language is, whether it's English, Hindi, whatever language, your model should be able to process that, convert it into whatever model or whatever language the model understands. Let's say it's some tokens, and then process the tokens and respond back to you in your natural language. So there's like some conversion or transformation happening in real time.
Yeah. I mean, prompt engineering is not as important as it was like a year ago. And I think that we'll start to see less and less of like prompt engineering because the models are just smarter. That being said, especially for the kind of 40 plus age group, people that, not necessarily putting an age number on it, but more like who are senior and not so savvy with technology. I've actually seen some of these courses have been really helpful for them because it's a structured way of learning, what are these tools? What do they do? What are the options? What are the capabilities? Because, I can give you a text box and you can put whatever you want in it and you'll get an output. But I believe some courses that, even some of our employees have taken on their own time have helped them unlock ideas of like, oh, I can use this technology for these things as well. So now they're thinking more around like, oh yeah, this is a great use case.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to add something to that, for example, not just prompts, but, we are talking about different modalities of prompts here. Like it's just not text. It could be video, audio, whatever, like, different kind of modalities and models are going to support that. They're already supporting with like different models coming out to support specifically like video transformations, audio transformations. And ultimately we want to ship these models in a way which is more intuitive for the user, like products which will enhance that. Like Puneet mentioned about, elderly people not being able to do some more tech savvy tasks. Maybe can we have a device which can run your super intelligent AI model on the device itself without having to incur a lot of latency, but still be able to do all of those like tasks in real time, supporting different modalities. I think probably that's the direction world is heading towards.
Yeah.
A good example of like knowing that the technology exists versus like being able to leverage it. I think of blog writing as a great example. Like I think when these AI tools came out, first thing was like, we don't need blog writers. We'll just use GPT to write the blogs. So even today, like, blog writers, they'll put the content in ChatGPT, they'll get a output as a blog. The challenge is, it's very easy now for most people to say like, oh yeah, this is AI generated because, you didn't give it enough information to tell it what you specifically
Make it sound human, or
you didn't
in
make
your
it sound
style.
human, brand voice, etc. Right? So now there's like some specialized tools which you'll be like, this is my brand voice. Here's
There are, I see these text people write like enhance,
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
these words.
I mean, there was a big thing on the word delve.
Delve. If anyone uses Delve, they probably got it from like ChatGPT or some generative AI model.
Unless you're from Africa, which apparently they use that commonly. But the point is, so now like we have blog writers, and so I've said, hey, you can use AI tools. It's obviously helping you. But like if I read this blog and I can figure out that you didn't put any of your own inputs, like that's not gonna work. So one thing, we've recently started suggesting is like, look, the point is we want our blogs to be consistent over time, and we want them to sound the same, right? Have the same brand voice. So instead of using ChatGPT, we use Perplexity Pro, and we say, hey, listen, we're writing a blog for this company. Search our existing blogs, keep the voice consistent. These are the type of things we need. And it will not only write you the blog, it will read your existing blogs, kind of keep the voice the same. So for the same use case, you can use two different AI tools, but knowing the fact that I could use it differently actually gives me a huge benefit versus someone that didn't even know that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. It also gives you references.
What other tools are like you would advise people to use? We had Perplexity. I also interviewed the founder of Perplexity. We had ChatGPT, which people are already using.
Yeah.
Is there utility in using any other tool that you both have like tried out?
Go use Meta AI.
What do you use it for the most?
Like anything, text generation, video generation, company logo generation, brand marketing, and this does everything. It's just another competitor to what all these other players in the market. So it has all the capabilities. Now it is backed by Llama 3.1, the 405B parameter model. So, and it has proven it to be better than even the GPT-4o. If you go by the current benchmarks. So I'm sure that's going to keep evolving as new models are trained, and we probably would have a trillion parameter model one day.
What do you think Mark Zuckerberg's goal is with Meta AI Llama 3.1?
I mean, I think the goal is that he wants to give the power to creators, consumers, to be able to do what they want to do for making their lives better. But at the same time, I think he also wants to make this open source. This technology should be available to consumers at scale for free. I mean, that's what he's doing right now. So and the goal being that a lot of these like mundane tasks, anything which humans have difficulty in completing them, they should be automated to a very high degree. And how that is accomplished is yet to be seen in different areas. You've seen like home automation, bots coming into play, AI agents on the websites helping you with tasks. So there's so many other applications of AI, to be honest. It's pretty much everywhere. So, and how that sort of gets, evolved with time is yet to be seen. I'm sure there would be a lot of startups, companies, Puneet's already looking into one. So I'm sure there would be other applications.
Yeah. Let's now talk about the opportunities and how can people get access to these opportunities. And the reason I'm just talking about this is that I literally met a developer who showed me his email in which Mark Zuckerberg emailed him to hire him at Meta. There was, Arvind from Perplexity wanted to hire him at Perplexity. So there's a huge battle for getting the best talent in companies to have that advantage. So how can someone who's in college or, getting started with their career get access to these opportunities, and how lucrative can these be for big tech as well as for startups?
I think in general, right, when you're looking for work, there's kind of a few strategies, right? And they all run in parallel. One is you go to a job site, you apply, you find a job, and hopefully someone responds to you, right? When you're thinking about that approach, obviously you need to figure out how do I specifically fit what they're looking for so that I maximize my chance of getting a response. The second strategy, which a lot of people don't do, but it's obviously there's a lot of awareness now, and some of this we support, is networking, right? So it's if you want to work at a specific startup, for me, I'm very approachable on LinkedIn. So people do reach out to me with their resumes and stuff. And I don't respond to everyone or I don't hire everyone, but at least, I've taken a look. If it's a larger company founder, I think at this point, maybe Mark Zuckerberg is not likely to reply to most people, but maybe there's a senior director at Meta, or there's, a senior engineer at one of these companies who you might be able to reach out to genuinely, right? With a call to action of hey, maybe we're from the same school, same college, or we grew up in the same town, or, I heard this podcast People are going to now message Pranav. But the point is that you can actually reach out directly or indirectly, whatever, and, bypass the traditional hiring pool. And the third piece is also, which is also underlooked, is if you're just doing really good work on your own, people will find ways to find you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I can give an example is I met someone recently at this event, and they were building something really interesting. They were a student building something really interesting that's relevant to us. And so, they were looking for an internship. And I said, hey, we don't hire interns. But I said, you know what, it seems like you've done this really cool and exciting work that's relevant to what we're doing. Let's chat. Right. So if you're doing good work and then there's people posting stuff on, x.com, they're making Insta reels about the work they've done. People are like, GitHub and other sites where there's just other developers starring their work. Yeah. Like if you have a cool open source project, somebody might reach out to you and want to hire you because of that. So there's a lot of these underrated ways that are just not like go to a school and hope that, some company comes to your college and hires you.
That won't happen now for bigger opportunities.
It's still going to happen, but there's a lot of other ways to get those opportunities.
Yeah. So, when I was at Apple, we've done that. Like we've hired actually a lot of people right out of conferences. Like we just saw the work they did, looking at like maybe their GitHub repositories, or maybe even they were a presenter at the conference and we just reached out to them, and it just makes total sense to align.
And what sort of compensation can they expect? Like, what is the salary of these beginner roles? Maybe you might not be able to share for Meta, but like in general, what does it look like in Silicon Valley?
In Silicon Valley specifically, like, Bay Area here, again, it depends from company to company, but anyone who's like coming right out of college with zero experience, I would say a base salary of something around maybe 100 to 120K is what I have seen as trend. It could be on the higher side too with startups, which may offer you a higher base in and some equity options. So that compensation structure can vary, but like 100, 120, maybe slightly going up. You can negotiate if you have multiple offers, is what I would see as the standard numbers.
That's like about 1 crore per year.
I would not go into the comparison, but for folks in different countries, you could do that conversion and feel happy about it. That this number.
We'll come to that. We're talking about SFO and moving here.
Yeah.
Cool. So you were talking about conferences and Meta just comes in and just hires people.
I was talking about Apple, but that's kind of this landscape for almost every company. Like that's why we have conferences. That's why we do networking, figure out people, discover people. And like Puneet very rightly pointed out, that when you're doing good work, you publish it, you advertise it, and people will find ways to discover that. And probably you are the chosen one.
All right. I want to now talk about the next segment, which is moving to Silicon Valley. I've been living here for about 10 days. I have a flight tonight to LA, but I want to hear from both of you. What has been your experience of living in Silicon Valley? How is San Francisco like? Why should someone think about moving here? Why have you decided to stay here? And what is the opportunity?
Yeah, maybe I came here, like I think I mentioned in the beginning, around 2012 timeframe, and it was very different than what it is right now. I think the biggest learning I've had over the last decade or so I've lived here is, I think the kind of innovation which happens here, at least I've spent some time in India as well. And then the kind of work which happens here, I feel like it is really groundbreaking. Like it's and there are multiple reasons to that. One is that there's a lot of investor money pouring in, and it's like if you have a good idea, you have a good like execution strategy around it, I think you have a very high chance of getting funded and take it to the next level. Of course, the bigger companies which you see today, they also started one day, and it is all a culmination of like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years of effort to get to this point. And there is a reason why they all exist here and not in other parts of the world. Of course, like climatic conditions are another like factor to it, just like we have in Bangalore. So people prefer like areas like these where it's something which allows you to like work throughout the year rather than being very like not being able to work in like, let's say 3 months of the year because it's too cold or something, and not.
It's basically Bangalore weather, but better and with a beach.
with a beach. Within like 1 hour, you get pretty much everything. You have mountains, you have beach, you drive 3 hours, you have Tahoe, where you have like a lot of snow. And then you drive south, you have beaches, you drive north, you have beaches like surrounded by Pacific Ocean. So it's, I think the beauty of the nature is just really nice here. I think it really excites people to come here. But again, it's all comes at the cost of taxes. So you have to pay that.
Yeah, but cost of living. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
What is the cost of living? Because for me, it's like every day I'm spending at least $100 on Uber and at least $50 on food.
Yeah, I mean, see, you're also, like visiting here. So Uber cost, I would probably not count into your daily expenses. But yes, a regular meal would probably cost you like $10 to $15.
That's on the lower side.
That's on the lower side. If you go in a fancy place, that will be like $25-$30 very easily.
I've never seen a $10 meal here.
I mean, if you have a burger or something, it'll probably cost you that. But if you go to a fancy restaurant and like have like a couple of dishes,
So having quinoa salad.
so yeah, maybe $15-$20 as I would say. You go to a Desi Indian restaurant, like
They'll charge you even more.
yeah. So I think but yeah, on a daily basis, if you have to eat out and like survive like that, probably you're looking at close to like $80-$90 a day.
Yeah. And then what is the living rent or rent cost? What does it look like?
I mean, rent depends on like multiple things, but specifically, I mean, also, it's not the whole of the US that's expensive this way, right? It's Silicon Valley specifically, maybe New York and like some parts of, LA and New York and other cities maybe. But like there's like a couple of places that are extremely expensive compared to others. And that's also factored into, one is the tax. So it's just like really high tax here. And then also the salaries adjust for that, right? So when you see this news about like 1 crore, 2 crore package, right? But you don't see that they're going to like spend half of that in tax anyway. But in terms of rent,
So tax is about 45%, 40%.
35 to 40%.
it depends on again
Your income brackets.
Yeah.
But you can say like maybe standard like around 35 to 40%. And then if what state you are in also matters, because then there'll be an additional state tax.
Yeah.
So
I've seen a lot of people like my age go to like hacker houses and then just live there.
Yeah.
So like what I saw was that, like a big villa type hota hai yahan pe, in which the rent might be like $10,000 or something, in which like 7-8 people are staying.
Correct.
And then it gets divided.
Yeah.
So that becomes a bit more economical. But like normally like 2 BHK, what I've seen is like $3,000, $4,000 a month. So that's like the normal range if people are curious.
Yeah, like 4,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2.5, 3 is like pretty normal.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, there are fancy ones if you live in SF, like next to the Bay Bridge, pay like $5,000 or more. But
My friend just stays there. She just loves it.
so, I mean, it's up to your sort of appetite of how much you want to spend on like your rents. But yeah, anything from like 3,500 to 5,000 is for a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment.
But like it gets so expensive. Why to even like live here? It was like my first cost, my first thought when I came here. Like I think it'll at least be like $5,000 to $6,000 to live here per month, depending on what you're doing.
Sure, but there's 2 factors, right? One is, why do you want to live here, right? So if you're like in the movie industry, this is probably not the right place for you, right? If you're in like specific industries that just don't exist here, then you should probably consider moving to a better place. But if you're in tech, right, this is, and I strongly believe this is the place to be, Silicon Valley or SF, whichever one, right? And the reason is because everyone else is here for the same reason. So everyone works at either, a really big company they've seen innovation inside these big companies, or they've worked at a startup and seen, things being built, or, they're part of the ecosystem, right? And, since you've been here in 10 days, you've attended a couple events, you've been to Stanford, right? You've understood that there's an ecosystem around here. Like, you go to a coffee shop and the person next to you won't even know. There'll be a founder of some company. They might be, a senior person at some big tech company, or an investor. You just don't know. But like, it's probably one of those 3.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can't get that anywhere else. As a startup founder also, some of the benefit is like, if I'll just walk into a networking event, I have no idea who I'll meet. But usually something or the other positive comes out of it, because everyone in this area who's attracted to that same event, they probably had a similar mindset or something, that's conducive to the environment. If I lived in, like I joke with my wife, like I would rather move to Bangalore than move to any other place in the US, right? Because like there's no environment there for the tech industry.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the main thing from my perspective.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, pretty much what Puneet mentioned. I think the opportunity cost here, like, people come here to make their careers from maybe, as somebody who's just coming out of college to a senior director, a VP, if you want to be like pursuing that bigger company route, or like, Puneet is on that entrepreneurial journey, which is again, some people really want to like get into that, path and really build something 0 to 1 and then 1 to 10 and take it like even bigger. So the accessibility to like these, network of people, the VCs, the other engineers, the networking which you get, and maybe it's all knowledge sharing ultimately. Like, people want to join your hands and take that thing forward which you are pursuing. I think it's just easier because you get that platform here.
Yeah.
It's not, I'll tell you, if you go to like places like, for example, Denver, Colorado, like, Texas or some other like Midwest states, that's just very different. I would probably say like maybe like if you go to New York or Boston, because that also has some good
hacker vibes.
Yeah, community around it. You just say, for example, in New York, you have the whole finance industry hub. So you'll find a lot of like people of that background more than here. So again, really like I think the place will define what sort of platform and ecosystem it provides. Simple like mapping to that would be Mumbai. You have like the big finance sector there, and a lot of people go there just for that reason, opportunity cost.
And Bollywood.
Yeah.
And so another way to think of it is like it's cost versus value, right? So in a lot of industries, technology is a cost center, right? I used to work in a financial firm, and tech was treated like, oh, this is a cost to us. Like, yes, you're providing value, but we are spending money on technology because we're actually a financial company. So we make money by doing trading or whatever. And that trickles down into the culture of where you live, right? Whereas in Silicon Valley, everybody, or not everybody, but a large majority of people here are for the tech. So tech drives the ecosystem. So being a tech person in Silicon Valley is really useful. Like being a non-tech person, like it's, your mileage may vary.
Yeah, but I want to just highlight one thing though, but like it may sound that everything is just very, like glowy and happy from the outside, but there are also struggles. I'm sure like everybody goes through their own set of struggles to get where they are in their lives, like, building a company, surviving many years in a big tech company to get to a very senior position. It's not like easy. So there is a lot of like competition because everybody is there. And there's also a lot of like perseverance, patience, and dedication to what you want to achieve here. So it takes time. So people sometimes also get in that state where they are losing motivation because it's maybe monotonous, or maybe they're not able to get what they want at the pace they want to achieve that. So it can be demotivating at times too. So it's not like, like people say grass is greener on the other side. So there's also like some other side of things which people should be aware of when considering this. Of course, not demotivating anyone here.
Right.
People should definitely like, loop in and jump into following their dreams and fulfilling that. But yes, be cognizant of that. Not everything is going to be a happy path.
Yeah. But like I feel like what I've observed, like living in San Francisco, is that यहाँ पे work-life balance बहुत है, right? Like typically I have like developer friends who are in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So like they would work like वो बोलेंगे कि हाँ we have like a Xbox, we have like a foosball table and all, but we don't never get to use that.
Yeah.
But I have seen here people going for runs, वो आराम से अपना what is that, pickleball खेल रहे होते हैं, वो कुछ swimming pool में जा रहे हैं. I went to the YouTube HQ. It has a swimming pool. It has a gymming. It has a gym. And it even has a slide from the 3rd to the 2nd floor. And that's just insane, right? So they've just built these things, and people are just so chill about life, is what I have observed. Right? So that looks very cool. To see that. There was a person I met who just had a baby. So unko, he got a 5-month leave vacation. It's called baby bonding year, apparently.
Yeah. I think देखो वो तो रहता ही है. I mean, everybody has like some accessibility to some sort of perks for that matter. But again, the point is that perks, एक चीज को बार बार आप कितना कर लोगे use, right? Like at some point there would be some inflection point and you'll be like, अच्छा, I'm done with this. I need something new. So वो, how do you sustain yourself in that sort of ecosystem is also like challenging at times.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, this is like, I think it's an individual's choice. Because time, it's all about time management to the end of the day. Like even like you look at Tim Cook, he gets up at 4 a.m, going to the gym and still like running a big tech company like Apple. So, and there are people who are going to be like maybe at home and just lying around and not doing any physical exercise. And you may question them like, yeah, why aren't you doing this? I think it's their own personal choice and question of what you want to do within the time frame you have.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you'll find people who are grinding here as well, just like those.
I've observed the extremes. I've seen like the startup people working day in and day out, and I've seen like employees working in big tech just chilling. Like while working, chilling, वहाँ पे घूम रहे हैं, कुछ भी time pass कर रहे हैं, and all is what I've observed when I went to these offices.
There's always like some set of people who would do that. There will always be also senior folks who would also do that. Nobody likes to live a mundane or monotonous life. तो थोड़ा बहुत तो सब करते ही हैं. All you have to figure out is that how do you balance it out?
But people literally sleep by 9:30 here, is what I've seen.
I don't know.
Well, these are all like personal choices,
Yeah.
right? Like if you go anywhere in the world, you'll find people in all spectrums. But I mean, from a company perspective, it's actually very useful to give these perks because A, now I'm used to them. So now it's harder for me to leave.
Yeah.
B, I'm spending more time in the office. मैं स्विमिंग करके बोलूँगा चलो आधा घंटा काम करके जाता हूँ.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, I would have left the office an hour earlier, gone swimming at my local place. It would have taken me time to drive back home. Now I'm tired. I'll eat dinner and go to sleep. So, I mean, as a company, it's beneficial to give your employees these options. And those that want to use it, they'll use it. Those that don't anyways, they're happy doing whatever.
So you think it is worth it? Like that the choice that you made to come here and live?
I think overall I'm happy. There are like, I'm talking about the perks question at least, like, like I have been a guy who has never like cooked food by myself, like for majority of the time frame. And I was used to just eating at company throughout. And which was, I think, something like Puneet mentioned, like was tying me to be staying at the company for a longer time, which also meant I'll probably be putting in extra hour to do work. So the company is extracting that value indirectly by giving me that benefit because it's kind of like hooking me to that perk. So abhi, like now that, I'm in a different phase of my life. So me and my wife have to talk about, let's like have food at home because it's more healthy. So there are like trade-offs to that.
Yeah, but like the best part is the Sunnyvale area, which is basically India, little India of Silicon Valley. Yahan pe we all went to this place called Apna Bazaar. And there you can have free chai, you have like proper Indian meal, and it's also like affordable and everything. So that is like the best part about it. If you ever come here, you should try coming here.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's
I mean, it's crazy. We live like 2 streets away.
Like 5 minutes walk. Like today, I was actually about to come, like park my car and like just walk to his place.
Yeah.
When I saw he's like literally like, because I go to Safeway for grocery shopping and it's like right on this road. Yeah.
Nice. Amazing. This was epic. Thank you so much. Yeah. What is the one last message that you would give to people who are interested into generative AI and they want to get started?
I would say, first of all, go fulfill your dreams. Don't stop at any point. You want to come to the valley. If that's the path you want to pursue, do that. If that path happens to be on that AI journey, figure out the tools, look at the courses, discover, like be that curious guy who wants to like discover things and try it out. Don't be like, I'm dependent on somebody to teach me or spoon feed me. If you are the guy who has the tenacity to go discover things, be curious, I think you'll find a way out.
Puneet?
Well, I think specifically for Gen AI, right? I think this is an inflection point in the tech industry. It happens once every 10 to 20 years. So this is the time where everybody's on the equal playing ground. An 18-year-old is equally as capable as a 30-year-old, as a 50-year-old, right? So don't just feel like, I'm young and this, this like, I don't know what's going on around me. No one knows what's going on. Yeah. And no one will for the next like couple of years because it's moving so fast. So try, available free tools. Also try, tools that companies have made specifically for specific use cases and understand and try to learn, how this technology is being used and use that as a platform for how you can do something in this space if it's interesting to you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking out the time. This was Generative AI 101 and / Silicon Valley overview. Pranav, Puneet, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You can check them out. The socials will be in the description below and I'll see you in the next one.